I'm going to start out today using the foam roller. Foam rolling is important for detaching fascia from muscle, as well as, just like if you were to go get a massage, it would be great to loosen up the muscles. Oftentimes what happens is we feel pain at the insertion point. So a common one is like below the knee, knee pain, in the hips, in the back even. And most of the time, as long as there's nothing structurally wrong, it's a result of muscle tension. So a great way to use a foam roller is one of two ways. Either you can just use it consistently to stay ahead of any muscle tension, use it regularly throughout your training, whether before your workouts to help activate the nervous system. You can use it after. What I like to say afterwards would be like in the period of time between when your muscles are still hot, still warm, still really pliable, and then when your muscles start to cool down and you can feel them kind of tighten up, there's a window in there, probably 15 to 30 minutes after exercise, that it's good to use the foam roller. Either that, or you can use it like I am today, kind of a prescribed rest day, but also an active recovery day so that I can hit my training again tomorrow. So I always like to start in the lower leg. So what I'll show you today is our 5 spots on the lower leg that you can use the foam roller to help with. The first one is the front of the leg. So the anterior tibialis, kind of right in here. Second one is the peroneals, the ankles. Third one is at the angle there on the lateral head of the gastrocnemius. The soleus is the 4th spot, and then the medial head of the gastroc, that big belly on the inside of your calf muscle, is the 5th one. When you're foam rolling, I've found it always helpful and useful to foam roll from the top down, kind of no matter where you're at. Try and work that tension out through your body that way. And even if you feel pain and tension in your hips and it's a result of a tight hamstring, still working the tension from top to bottom has always seemed to work best for me. And it seems like it's easier just kind of on your body during the foam rolling too. So the 5 spots on the lower leg. Anterior tibialis. Lay the foam roller on the ground. Go at a little bit of an angle here where your foot's at like a 45, and you just work back and forth. If it's really tight, maybe you spend a lot of time there. If it's not that tight, maybe a couple times will do. The second spot is the peroneals, the ankle muscles. So now you go foot flat, same thing, out and back, out and back. Now we go lateral head of the gastrocnemius, the big calf muscle. That one's tight. So we work gently to the top, we pick up the tension, and we roll it out through the bottom. And we come back up easy, we pick it up again, and we roll it out through the bottom. 4th spot is the soleus. You may not feel much at the top of this, near your knee, because that big calf muscle kind of splits and works its way around. The soleus is big time down near the ankle. So once we get to the ankle, we'll probably feel that one more. Yep. And try and just relax your foot, let your muscle relax, and let the roller work its magic. lot of tension there. Now we go to the fifth spot, which that foot is at a 45-degree angle facing inward on the medial head of the gastric knee muse. Start at the knee, work your way down through that calf. It's pretty tight. Could probably spend a lot more time on that, and I may. I'm not going to right now. So that's the lower leg. Now we get up into the hamstring. And I've just got 3 spots for the hamstring. Not on the side of the leg, but similar to the calf muscle where we go here, middle, and medial. We're going to do the same thing on the hamstring. You can start right between the butt bone, right below the butt bone. So you kind of work it in there, rotate to the side just a little bit, and work your way up that hamstring. It will become more challenging or more impactful if you cross that leg over and work it down. And on this one, I can actually feel the tension moving, the knot, the ball kind of moving into the knee. Then we go middle, same concept. You'll start here and work straight down, loosening up those hamstrings, detaching them from the fascia, working through any knots that might be in there. If you find an area that's really tight, spend more time there. Now we go inside. Ooh, that's real tight. Yeah, so working that way. And I don't even know, I can't handle the other leg on top right now. There's the hamstring. IT band. IT band is that band right on the side of your leg. It's not actually a muscle. And you don't need to spend a ton of time on it, but it's good to loosen that and separate it, oh man, from the rest of things as well. So you'll start just below the hip bone, pick it up, and work it out through the knee. IT band, a couple times probably enough on that. I used to spend a lot more time on that IT band, and research has come out to say that it doesn't do you a lot of good. In fact, it might do more harm than good to spend a lot of time. Not that it's bad to work through it, but it's not necessary to really dig into it and tear it apart. The quadriceps, the front of the leg. So now we got 4 spots on the front. We have 45-degree angle on the outside, middle, 45 on the inside, and then we'll go straight on the inside to adductors, kind of the groin area as well. And because of some of the lateral lunges that I've been doing lately, I know that's going to really hurt. But let's go here. Foam roller there, 45-degree angle, working from hip to knee. Start it over, hip. I gotta go a little lower so that I can get all the way. What you'll oftentimes feel on this is the tension you feel the knot, and the tension will build, it'll keep building as you get closer to your knee, and then sometimes it'll just dissipate down. It'll all gather kind of down around your knee, and then it'll go away. So that tension I was talking about earlier, where people feel pain like underneath their knees, a lot of those hamstrings or the quads will come down and wrap around that knee, and that's where they'll attach. So we feel the pain in those insertion points. And if we can alleviate the tension in the belly of the muscle, then you don't have it pulling as hard on those insertion points. So you'll really be able to feel a difference. So that was 45 outside. Then we'll go straight up, right below the hip again. We'll work it straight forward. Again, relax. Same thing, I'll go a couple times here. I don't feel any major knots. And now we go inside, 45-degree angle inside. That one hurts. Once you feel that tension build, building, 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 and boom, it's gone. That was a pretty clean pull right there. Now we go adductors, kind of the groin area. So you want to position yourself, or you can position the foam roller in such a way that it'll work that way as well. But now I'm just going to go straight across, and that one is like fire. I guess I've never been burned that way, but I'd imagine. Tension's really building. As you readjust yourself too, don't lose the knot. It's easy to roll right over the top of it and not let the tension build around that knee. And if it doesn't build, then it doesn't go away. So you've got to carry that tension all the way down the length until it gets to the point where the belly's done and the tendons begin. And that's where all that energy will go. Glutes, move up to the hips a little bit. So what you can do is sit on the foam roller. You start with that and then just kind of lean to the side. And you're going from the base of the posterior superior iliac spine all the way through the muscles in the glutes. Glutes max, minimus, piriformis, all those muscles. And that is one way to work. That's the way to work through the glutes. This is pretty much a prerequisite to a tennis ball for me, but it's certainly a prerequisite to the next one I'm going to show you, and that's where you cross your leg over to open up that hip and give the foam roller access to some of those deeper muscles. And then when you roll, you'll be able to get into some of the muscles that are buried deep inside. And this isn't quite trigger point yet. This is more kind of a global release. And we'll get into that trigger point if we're experiencing specific tension in a few minutes. Another area around the hips that we can experience pain is the kind of the rotators. There's a little slot there between the hip bone and the hip bone, top of the femur and the hip crest there. And what you can do, instead of working back and forth, which is what we've been doing this whole time, now we kind of roll in that pocket to loosen up some of those rotators. So we work through here, and we can work all the way to the forward side here into some of our hip flexors. That way. Just loosening them up. And I used to spend a lot more time digging into sticking points or pain points than I do now. I think you get a lot of bang for your buck just from kind of going over those areas. And my left leg, the one I just did, feels much better already than my right one. And I'll show you one other thing that I like to do with the foam roller. If I'm sitting around kind of waiting for something to happen, or sometimes even watching television, I'll just put it underneath my neck and I'll just kind of roll gently side to side, and that will help to get some of that tension out of my neck. I've done this before when I've had a headache, and the headache has all but gone away. This, along with a combination of some tennis ball trigger point work underneath the shoulder blade. So there's, I'm a runner, so primarily where I spend my time using a foam roller is on my lower body to help get the locomotion process moving and free up some of the tissues underneath there so that I can keep training and keep moving. There are certainly many more ways to use a foam roller. Those are the ways that I've been using them for a long time, and that's the way that I train clients to use a foam roller as well. So I'm hopeful that this is helpful, and I'm certain that if you use some of these techniques in your own training on recovery days or before your exercise, or even in that kind of cool down window after your workouts, you'll see huge results. Reduce your risk of injury. You'll be able to get back to training at the level you want to train at sooner, and you'll just move more freely in life. There's one more area that I want to show you guys. I just shot the video about the lower body and talked about how that's primarily where I'll use it. But also there's oftentimes, in working with businesses and corporate wellness, a lot of people spend a lot of time hunched over, working on their computers, tightening the muscles in the chest, the anterior shoulder. And one thing that I'll do to combine with some posterior strength work, row patterns, things like that, is to have clients roll out that chest, anterior shoulder. So you'll put the foam roller at an angle there, lay on it on the front, and then work through that in the same way that we did with the legs, from the midline out. So we can get that tension, pick it up, and work it through. Because that poor posture that we've been hearing so much about and that we know is unhealthy for us is a result of two things. It's a result of tension in the anterior, the front, the chest, the shoulders, and weakness in the back. So what we want to do is stretch and foam roll in the front and strengthen in the back. So this is a great one for people who spend a lot of time at their desks or working in front of them, which I think probably most of us do these days.